Hello. Wow. I'm joined today by the wonderful JCK in Australia. Hello, JC.
Oh, how are you? I forgot my name.
I think it's Casey. Is it KFC? Everybody gets it wrong, don't they?
No, no. Oh my gosh. Everyone's calling me Casey and CJ and what else do they call me? J or K? Yeah, but it's JC. So my real name is JC and
Yeah.
I just made it JC.
Okay.
So yeah. So that's my
Cool.
real
I
name.
get called Paul for some reason. People say my name Mark and they call me Paul. I'm like, what? I don't get it.
Yeah, do you look like a Paul? You look
I
like
don't think
a
I do. I don't think I do. But no
no,
offense to any Pauls watching.
no, no,
Who'd want to look like this anyway?
no.
Wow, I can't believe we're actually recording and we're live and everything else because I came across you about 3 weeks ago, and I was trying to remember this morning about how I came across you, and I think it was because I did a video with a learned friend of mine in Australia saying what's going on in Australia. That was a video that I did, and then
Yeah.
your video was called "What's Going On in Australia," and I think that's how I found you.
Wow.
And then
Oh my
I watched your video, and I was like, oh my god. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it was so. And then you just went boom, right?
Yeah.
And
It's
like
only been 3 weeks. It's
3 weeks,
literally, I checked today, it's been 21 days.
yeah, I did as well. So that's like, I think that one video, the first video was 110,000 views, then you add up all the others, then the other show that you've been on, and then like 11, 12,000 people in your Facebook group. I mean, that is phenomenal.
I think it's actually 18 point something thousand
Has
now.
it gone? Wow, it was 11 last time I looked. So, I mean, it's
Yeah.
nuts, right?
And in our group, so we've got an online group and that's like 12,000 people. Yeah. And that started a week before, not even a week, 5 days before I uploaded the YouTube videos. So,
So I mean, I've been busy. I started my channel 5 weeks ago, but mine's a tiny little channel. Yours has gone mental, right? So
it's a yeah, it's a channel and a group. I think the group is what keeps me busy because you could, as you know, you can sort of pull back the work if you've just got a channel. You can sort of just decide that you're not going to record that day. But sometimes I'll get an urge and I'll just do something. Like I know I've actually got quite a lot of content for, a 3 week channel. Because I talk a lot. So, and I've also got videos in our group. So there's 2 or 3 live Q&As that we did already, like, in the group. And I only uploaded the last one we did last Friday. So I've sort of made this random decision that every Friday I'm going to do a Q&A.
I was on your first one last week. It was brilliant.
Yeah, that's 2 hours long that went, and people are going, it's long, and I'm like, it's a Q&A. Like, come
Q&A.
on, man. Yeah.
It is what it is.
It took me, like, I think I answered the first question in the first 20 minutes. It took me, it took a long time to get the ball rolling, but everyone enjoyed it and that was great. And but yeah, I guess we can talk about this because you and our journeys are they're sort of coinciding, aren't they? They're very similar.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
crazy.
little bit weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I posted one of my poems to your group, and then
No, I posted. So when I started the group, okay, so this is what happened. Should I tell you the
yeah,
story
tell me the story.
of our random lives kind of going like that? Um, so I'm a big mouth, I say it all the time. Okay. So I, and I'm a psychic, you know that. So I'm a professional psychic and I'm an
I knew that you
artist.
knew that I knew that you knew that I knew that.
Yeah. And I'm an artist, but like, really, I just tell people I'm an artist. I actually don't tell people I'm a psychic. It's sort of word of mouth. So all my clients were always word of mouth. I've never been into marketing stuff and I don't really, it's like if I don't feel like doing a reading or if I'm not in the mood, I won't do one.
Yeah,
Right. Or I'll sort of schedule people for when I know I'm going to be okay to do it. And that's just because I'm trying to maintain that authenticity. Because I think I have worked in the industry where we either worked in crystal shops doing reading after reading after reading for clients or, and I used to do spirit guide portraits and all that sort of stuff because I'm an artist. So I combine the two. Or we do, I actually did phone readings for a company for a while. And Look, I'll just say this. I was probably the only honest one. And like, you know, and what happened was you get a lot of clients wanting to come back because they realize they've called all the other psychics and all of them are bullshitting and saying, oh, no, your boyfriend's coming back. And here I am going, oh, sorry, he's gone. And they're like, what? And then they'd cry and they'd call.
The bad news psychic.
Yeah, so, but then they'd find out that I was the only one saying the truth because
Yeah.
if you know anything about psychic ability, it has to come from integrity. There can't have any ego involved. You can't have this. It's because I really believe that the gift will be taken away from you.
Yeah.
If that's, do you understand? Like, it's like if you are, if you're going to corrupt this gift, which it really is, if you're going to corrupt it with your own ego about, I'm so great and all that. And I'm telling you, I've been doing this for so long. Like, I'm 44 years old. Most people don't realize that, but I'm 44 years old. And I've been on and off doing this since I was about 18. I'm really like realizing that I am psychic. So, but I only really did it professionally for the last, say, 15 years maybe. Mm-hmm. And even that was just, you know, it's just something that it is, you know, you are who you are. But the one thing I always do is I always question myself, and I'm very skeptical of what I come up with, you know, like it's this fine line between trusting yourself implicitly and, but never being so cocky that you just think you know everything. Okay. So there's this very fine line between that. But it starts to be, it's like a muscle that you exercise because it starts to be this thing where you know deep down inside that the thing you're feeling is true.
Yeah.
And you have to express it. And it's really, and you also start to learn how to interpret the images you're getting and what that means. And it's a combination of all these things. So that's the stuff that I mean, you know, so I always had that. So I always had that sort of, what was the question?
Well, I was going to say, you've gone on to, I've got 3 or 4 questions. About 4 of them.
No. It's
about
the thing
I was asking you about in the first place.
how we got started. So
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to just say to anybody watching this who's not heard of you, which is unlikely, but if anybody hasn't, I'm going to put links below to the videos that you've done in the channel, the Facebook group. I'm going to sum it up for somebody that hasn't watched them. Basically, JC is a psychic medium. She kind of remote viewed into what was going on beneath the ground in Australia, saw some incredible things, which she's going to explain in a minute. That's the reason why you should watch this video, because you're going to find out the story of what's happened since then. The question, what I actually said to you, JC, was that when I saw you and then I found the Facebook group, then I posted one of my poems because I thought, oh, I think she'd like this. And then that's what
I didn't even know you were in a group. I did not even know you were in a group. Okay, so
you didn't know who I was, so I mean,
yes, I did, because I was a fan of yours.
How?
I was a fan. So
you said that before, and I'm like, how can I've only just started my channel. I can't have any.
I know, but I didn't know that. I didn't know. I was like, okay, so this is what happened. So I was so all this shit's going on with COVID, right?
Yeah.
And I'm seeing right through it, and I'm like, everything's gonna be fine. Like, what the hell? This is BS, right? And I started sharing things. Initially, it was like, I guess most truthers of like trying to wake people up and kind of going down the negative pathway where I was like,
guilty.
You know, this is a conspiracy. Like, don't you see what they're doing? And I started to realize that this is probably not having any benefit to people because it's just keeping them stuck in that sort of cycle. And I'd been sharing so much on my personal page, and I lost friends. Like, I lost them. Like, I don't know where they are. I literally don't know where my friends are. I've got like really close friends that talk to me, but the rest of them, goodbye. They're gone. Yeah. I don't know where they are. Okay. I don't even know if they know that I have a channel. Okay. So like, that's how bad it is.
Yeah.
So I just was really fed up. I thought, I'm not getting any support from friends and family that I mean, I shouldn't say that about all family and friends, but some. And I thought, oh, that's it. I'm making my own page. I'm going to share all the stuff on there that I appreciate, that, you know, I know other people will appreciate. It actually started with Charlie Freak's page. He's on Facebook. So I was already following Charlie Freak for years because I was a fan of Mark Devlin's.
Yeah.
In fact, I was going to go see Mark Devlin talk in Australia just before COVID hit, and I was going to meet with him and tell him all this research I had, but I didn't get a chance.
No, I love Mark Devlin. That's how I found Charlie Freak.
Yeah. And also Mike Williams, who has the Sage of Quay radio hour. I was a big fan of his. So both of them I kind of had sent some chats to, you know how it is.
Yeah.
Fangirl, right? And so I had seen and listened to Charlie Freak probably about 2016 or something like that. He had his own little channel. So when Mark Devlin interviewed him again, I knew exactly who he was. So I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. So I listened. He made a Facebook group. And this is where I kind of had this platform. I was like, right, like-minded people, I'm going to put the intel that I'm getting, or the stuff I'm putting together and piecing together from like a research point of view, but also an intuition.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote this article that went viral. Like, I mean, it went full on viral. So I'm Lebanese, and there was a bomb blast in Beirut, and people were speculating as to what caused this and whatever. And I wrote this article about, you know, firsthand, because I have family. Oh my God. Do you remember? Sorry, my alarm went off.
What time is it?
It happened in the Q&A. I didn't realise I was still on.
What does the alarm say? Cut Mark off now and go and do something interesting.
No. It's for my daughter's bedtime.
Oh no, am I keeping her up? Sorry.
No, she's okay. Oh God. Okay, so we're talking about. So I put this article, and I was basically explaining why the bomb blast, what I felt and what I had pieced together from intel, and I put it on Charlie Freak's page, and it got. And this is when his page was public, and everyone was sharing stuff. It went viral. So we're talking like, in a day, I think it was like well over. Gosh, probably 1,000 shares, more than that, right?
Listen, I know what that feels like, because I wrote an article on Facebook, I think it was 2015, 16, after the Paris attacks.
Yeah.
And basically I just said, look, whatever you think about whether this is real or not, for God's sake, don't blame Muslims. I had 17,000 views, and so I know what it feels like.
And people start contacting you, and they want to be a friend. And I had people from Israel contacting me saying, you know, thank you so much you've changed my life. Like, I've had people were saying that. On that same day, I had an old friend contact me and tell me, what the hell are you doing? And basically said, who do you think you are? What the hell are you doing? Yeah. And you think you're doing something special, and you're sort of talking down to everybody else. And I was just like, I was floored. I was like, I had this admiration from one side, and then
the demons come through people, especially people that you know, and then they attack you on your weak point.
Yeah. And it really broke me. I was really devastated. I was just like, oh my gosh, the people that I thought knew me the most, you know, when we're not accepting me. And in the end, I mean, I'm rambling, but let me just say, like, the thing that sort of drives me was I had a voice, and I know there was this soul urge for the last several months to just speak up and to really speak my truth. And it was in every single aspect of my life. Was like, I don't want to live a lie anymore. I don't want to be the person who's silent. I don't want to be the person who is not sharing this information. I've always been a person who was very opinionated, but also I had very clear sort of views on things, but also I also sort of gravitated towards being a teacher or a facilitator, or you know, like a coach of some kind for people. And that's how people saw me as a psychic. But also, you know, in my own professional life, I always tended to train people or inspire people. And public speaking was not a big deal for me because I studied acting, and, you know, I did all of that sort of stuff. So those sorts of things all sort of came together. Yeah. But in the end, that sort of solidified into this soul urge, which I know now is something that was from before we even came into this realm. Yeah. And it's for this moment in time, really. And so it sort of culminated into this thing of, that's it. I'm done with everyone, with the mainstream. I'm going to make my own little group. I'm going to invite all these new friends that added me from that viral article. They're all like-minded, like me. And I'll add them as my friends, and I'll make a new profile even. I'll even make a new kind of anonymous profile, right? So I did this, and during that time, I met my fellow admin, Saul, and he had liked my article, and that's why he was like, we're on the same wavelength, right?
Yeah.
And so we just clicked like that. It was like we knew what we had to do. It was like we both knew the mission.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to put some content up on this group, and I have put all my old articles, and your poem "If" was the first thing, one of the first things I posted, because I saw it and I was just like, I want everyone to appreciate this, because I love the poem. I used to read it all the time. This Rudyard Kipling. Yeah, you got it.
There it is.
I always used to read this poem. Like, I mean, I think for a year I was reading it every day, and just, just to.
A life-saving poem.
It is. That and Desiderata. What is it?
Desiderata. Go placidly through the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence.
I always wanted to illustrate a book with that poem. Like, I wanted to do.
You're going to illustrate my book.
Oh yes, that's right. That's the other thing that you said. Yeah, we're going to do.
Hang on,
so,
we're skipping. I'll get back.
We're jumping. I know. I've got to get back to the point. And I'm rambling.
No, it's great.
So basically, so I started with Saul. I said, let's make this group, and we had this vision of, because he's very much into sovereignty, which I believe is like the ultimate thing of living in a sovereign way. And he lives a sovereign life. He actually lives like a sovereign person, and practices what he preaches. And
if you're watching this, please come on and let's talk about sovereignty at some point.
Yeah, and he has all the legal knowledge. He understands the law back to front. I mean, this is a guy who's been in court and just can like make a magistrate walk out of the room, right? Because he knows the law, and they know that what they're doing is unlawful.
Yeah.
And they walk out because,
they have to.
So we were like, we're sick of this fear porn. Let's put let's sort of make people understand, like share our ideas, but also build up to this kind of community that is going to inspire people to envision a new world. That's really what we intended to do. And we were going to share things about sustainable living and all of this, and just create this community of people with like-minded sort of views. And then I said, I want to do like a meditation. And he showed me a map he said, I've been mapping these earthquakes all across Australia.
Yeah.
They're tunnels. He said, I've mapped it. He said, they're tunnels. And he showed me, and I was just like, oh my God. He said that every single explosion, we have no fault lines running through Australia.
Same in the UK. They've had like 3 or 4 earthquakes in the last week. And the Daily Mail says, another earthquake. It's like, come on.
And everyone's like, oh, no, that's fake. That's fake. Where's the proof? Where's the children? Right. Okay, well, hang on. There's something going on, right?
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm going to take a sip.
Yeah.
And so he showed me this map, and I was just so impressed. I was like, we've got the data. Like, I said, I knew instinctively that stuff was going on, but I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was like Area 51 or, just what that was.
You heard about the tunnels before Saul pointed it out to you?
Yeah, I did, but I was like, it was just words. People were saying, oh, they're pulling children out of tunnels. But I didn't think there was such an extensive one in Australia. However, I do have a friend who's a whistleblower, sort of an SRA survivor, and I'm actually good friends with her, and she's been on many videos showing her testimony of coming from a family of satanic ritual abuse. Yeah. And she had talked about the tunnels for decades. Yeah. And said that the entire underground of South Australia, of Adelaide, was tunnels, and it was a tunnel system.
Isn't it?
Yeah, and I'd heard about tunnels in Oregon, for example, under that voodoo donuts and all of that sort of stuff like that. So then, anyway, when Saul showed me this, I said, you know what? I want to see if I can tap in. I'm going to do a meditation and just see if I can journey and see what's underneath. And I'd been inspired by Charlie Freak because he'd been talking about doing meditations and stuff. And I already did like a meditation practice. And I just wanted to see how far I could go, because it's very easy for me. When people say to me, what do you do? I want to do what you do. I don't know how to explain it, because it's something that's so instinctive. And so it really is it's psychic ability coupled with practicing how to discern information, not from the head, but from, this heart sort of center, which I call the heart center. But really what you're doing is you're tapping into your authentic self. You're tapping into it's not like higher consciousness in just this matrix. It's beyond that. Okay, it's outside of this reality. So
Yeah, I'm going to cover that later because, you know, chakras and stuff like that, there's a whole
yeah,
conversation there. But
yeah,
can I ask you a question? Did you have visions in meditations before that you specifically tried to do this one?
yeah. I mean, even I'd say I remember years ago in my 20s, I was sort of starting to do professional readings and stuff, but I had a day job. And I asked my boss if I could like sort of work 5 days a week with the Saturday, just have a day off in the middle because I really wanted to go to this meditation group. And I was like the youngest one there, and they were all like old people, and they've been going for years. It was like a spiritualist church. And we just do like this meditation, and these people were doing it for years. And I remember they go, okay, your turn. Do you want to share what you saw? So the lady next to me has been doing it for 15 years, old lady. Oh, I saw purple and green swirls. And everyone's going, oh, wow. And then it gets to me and it's like, so I saw this, like I saw Saint Germain. And so we did this and this, and like this very visual, very profound, vivid thing. And I think that kind of floored everyone. And they were like, what the hell are you tapping into? So I've always been able to do it, and it's not a big deal for me. I'm visual because I'm an artist. I've got this psychic ability that's been honed in for decades and decades. And then I've also got I don't know. It's just the thing that you practice. Okay, so you don't lead it, you don't force it, and this is what people don't understand. People request, can you tap into this? Can you tap into that? So it's a bit different than, I would say it's even different than remote viewing. However, the feeling of it is like remote viewing. However, I didn't have to go through the very strict, specific kind of cold training of remote viewing, because remote viewing, if you know anything about it,
I've read a few books on it.
You don't know, you don't know the target. It's a very clinical kind of way of, it's like tapping into an innate, like I guess a collective consciousness, but they're not going to say that, that sees everything, but doing it in a very clinical scientific way, because they don't use emotion so much. It's very kind of, and whereas I'm making assumptions about what I'm seeing because I've got that psychic ability. So that's a bit different than remote viewing. And I think I'm using that term loosely. To me, I feel like it's a journeying. It's like a shamanic journeying. And I actually think, like, I mean, one of my visions, I saw looking glass technology, and I've seen that a few times. And I kind of feel like on the astral, I'm kind of being used somehow through this stuff. I don't know. I'm clutching at straws here because I just feel like there's so many psychics that are saying the same thing, that they had a dream, that they were on a team of people and they were working, or they were seeing something, or they were helping, with Trump or whatever. And I've been seeing that for months and months and months, and it's so vivid. It's not like a dream. You actually can, like, it's like I met Trump, like, and I know, you know what I mean? Like, it's like I'm on his team and I'm doing this stuff. And, and then the looking glass technology, I mean, the stuff that I got from that in that video was just so specific, and I had to write it in a certain way. So even the information, I knew what I saw, but then the information came through as like this very encoded, channeled stuff, I guess.
So,
But
so we've established that you've always had this ability, and I'm just going to give my perspective before we go into it. When I saw your video, I resonated with it. I was goosebumping like nobody's business, right? And I was like, and also you said a couple of things that I was like, I saw that too. And then I was like, and everything you described, I was like, this is so familiar to me. It just felt really, really familiar. And that's why I think why it's gone viral, because I think lots of people have felt the same. And I also felt very strongly that you were chosen for the job. But
I think so.
I think you were. So let's be specific about that first video, because that's what changed your life basically 3 weeks ago when you put it up online. How did you? Because I think you did the reading like a week before you actually did the video, didn't you?
Yes, it was, because it was around the time that I was going to start the group, and I did a collection of journeyings, and in one of them I got contacted by someone who's very prominent. I'm not sure if I told you, but I'm not going to say it publicly.
I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah. And it was so vivid. Like this person was talking to me, okay, in this it was just a meditate. Like I actually was trying to meditate on myself. Like I was going, I need to work out some problems, and then I just got taken to this other place. Like I got.
No, you're not allowed to do that. We want you to go and do this.
Yeah, it was like a portal. They're like, right, she's meditating. Let's get her, right? And it was like this portal opened up, and I was like, what the who? Why are you here? Like, how do you know I'm meditating? And they were talking to me, and they said to me, they gave me instructions. They said, what you're tapping into, no one has tapped into. We know you're gifted in this field, and there's specific things that you're tapping into that you can't reveal publicly, but there's some that you can. And we need you to start. You've got this idea to start a group. Start the group. It will go viral. And, you know, record, rather than just writing down your meditations, record them on a video and put them up for people to see, and they'll go viral. And I'm like, it's not going to happen. And they're like, you'll be okay. Like you'll be looked after. You know, money won't be an issue. You'll be looked after, etc., etc. And I just, he even gave me the name of the group, and he said it has to have a Q in it. I'm like, here we go. I'm like, okay, because I was like, you know, I'm not into, you know, I mean, like I understand.
You were being skeptical, even though you're in the middle of a vision or kind of.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, right. So he said, can you think of something that has Q in it? I said, well, what about something with quantum? I said that. I said quantum something, because quantum financial system, you know, I was like,
the word of the hour.
Yes. And he said it. He goes, quantum truths, the great awakening and beyond. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, that'll do. And then I put that to Saul, and he goes, great, awesome, right? And he knew all the visions that I had. Like I'd been like, I was like, oh, you gotta listen to what I saw. And he was like open to it. He just said, I believe that you know what you saw, but you know, I'm open, right? The other thing was that this person who came to me in the vision, who said quantum truths, I know I'm rambling, but just let me get to a second. He said to me, we'll be in touch once you upload the videos. And I said, oh my God.
So we're going to knock at the door.
I know. I thought, oh shit, the government's going to call. They're going to call me. They're going to like call me.
Black helicopter.
I didn't know. I was like, yeah, let's just see if this happens, right? He said, no, we don't ring you. But he said, we communicate through technology because we are connected to AI, right? Mm-hmm. And he said, we communicate through technology, and the numbers you need to look for are these numbers. And he gave me the numbers. He said, you'll see them. And I said, okay. And I forgot about it, right? So I'm busy starting this group. Saul's going, hurry up and put content on there. And I said, can't you put your stuff? And he goes, no. He goes, because that will, anyway, it doesn't matter. So I'm putting your poem up, and I'm like, oh.
Thank you for doing that.
I even typed out like the whole words. Like I sat there and paused the video.
Just messaged me. I could have emailed them to you. It saved you a load of time.
And you know, when I saw you, I was like, I know this guy. Like I thought you were an actor. I thought like you were an actor and Doctor.
Well, that was one of my dreams. That's another story. That never happened.
I'm like, I've seen him on British television, so I'm sure I have, you know. And then so I put your thing up and everything, and we start getting people, start adding all our friends. So I'm thinking, we're going to get like 300 people in this group. And then I was like, I've got to write out these visions that I had. And I thought, nah, actually, I can't be bothered. I'm just going to use my phone, and I'm going to do it. And don't forget, there's no YouTube channel. It's just a group, right? On Facebook. Now, Facebook only uploads certain resolution. So I had to reduce the resolution. I was like trying to share it with my friends. Ended up splitting it up, the visions up into 4 little videos. The first one was the underground tunnel one. And I really didn't think it was a big deal, what I saw. But it kind of freaked me out. But I thought, I'm just going to...
How could you not think it was a big deal? I mean...
Because I kind of knew, I don't know. No, actually I didn't know that. That's
that's interesting. I think that's probably because you already knew it.
Yeah, I think in a very deep level.
Similar thing for me, because I wasn't freaked out at all.
Yeah.
But when I tell other people,
like,
when I tell other people what you saw, they're like, what?
Have you read the comments? Because honestly,
I was reading this morning.
They're like 99.5% positive.
It's incredible,
and incredible. And there's only like, and the only ones I've had to remove were like bots. You could tell that they're like, that there was no actual horrible comments or anything. Every single person was saying, you're not crazy. I know this is true. I know it inside me. And thank you so much for speaking up. You're so brave. You're this and that. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I remember the first 2 days, I was like, what the hell's going on, man? What is this? Because I wasn't even going to put it on YouTube. I was sending it to friends and they go, I can't watch it because it keeps stopping. Can you just put it up to YouTube?
Put it up on YouTube.
I go, fuck, make a YouTube channel. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to have my real name in there. I even said to Saul, is there a way I can record just my voice? I don't want anyone to see me. I didn't want
that's interesting because seeing you is so much part of the experience. Yes. The authenticity is because you're obviously just talking from the heart. It's just that's so, what a wonderful accident.
I know. And I kept saying this is an accident. And I'm like, now that I know, it's not an accident. Obviously this is what I was earmarked for in my life. It's like my life has been just plodding along until this point. And this is the thing. It's like everything has just triangulated into this point.
Yep.
And everything makes sense now. Everything.
Yep.
I'm everything, every feeling I've had, all the skill sets that I have, it's all accumulated into this point.
It's a very common thing at the moment.
Yeah, and my personality, I mean, I'm pretty calm now, but I'm, how I am. I can be really, and like those first few videos, I was so embarrassed. I'm like, oh my God, you can see it. I'm like kind of a bit shy and embarrassed, and I'm not usually a shy person, but I was kind of a bit apologetic because I was like, I don't know how people are going to.
Well, stepping over that line is quite a big thing to do, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Just going public with it. And I thought, but that was wonderful the way you did it because it just made everybody feel comfortable. And
you
gave everybody a get out clause at the beginning.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's what it is, because I think my personality is, I've always been, now I know this sounds derogatory towards myself, but it's not, it's kind of a joke, but I always go, I'm a big mouth, because I'm one of those truth seekers and truth speakers. I'm the one at the Christmas party, right? Who, everyone's doing their bullshit and they're, they're faking it and they're pretending. And I'm like, hang on a minute, that's bull. I'm the one pointing it out going, no, you're being fake. Like, stop doing that. That's who I am. I've just always been like that. And I there's no excuses. I don't make any excuses for being like that. And I think I didn't realize that so many people are silenced in this day and age, and I think it became very apparent when censoring started becoming really prolific online. Yeah. There was, when Facebook started setting off the fact checkers and we're not, I was having I was really had enough. I was putting these public posts on my private page, about what I thought about fact checkers, what I thought about COVID, and I was alienating so many people. But there were people who were too scared to speak up, inboxing me saying, "Thank you so much for saying that. You're doing what I was too scared to say. You're saying exactly like I'm too scared to say it, but thank you for saying it."
Well, when the pandemic happened, I got tons of inboxes from all over the world from people that had been following me but had never said a word.
Yeah,
and they were going, "What's going on?" I was like, "Who are you?" It's quite amazing.
It's like this thing, we were, I think we've just been awoken, or we're the ones that are trying to wake people up. And this has become this movement now. It's pretty profound. Like when I finally did upload it to YouTube, I really thought it was just going to be my friends. Next thing you know, it's like, it's just growing before my eyes, the views. And I'm like, holy crap, what the hell is going on? I did one under the Vatican, like what's under the Vatican. And these were all accidental. Like this was not, I didn't go, right, now let's see what's under the Vatican. Now let's see what's under Uluru. Let's see so these things, this is why I got contacted on the astral realm, because they said, you're tapping into things that nobody's seen. And it's almost was like a test. It was like, maybe some viewers were seeing some things, but they weren't picking up on these little specific stuff, and I've kept some information back from the public.
Because you've
Okay,
been told to, or because it feels wrong to share it?
both. I think both. I think on an internal level, I know some things are sacred and you can't say it, and you kind of, as you're viewing it, you're going, well, I can't tell people that,
Wow.
because you know it's like if the wrong people have this information, like
Okay. Yeah.
that's why I don't say it.
Yeah.
It's not about being embarrassed to say it. It's just like it's sacred information.
So let's
Um,
let's go. Let's go to the first video. You did it, and you had some notes there. You put it out, and all the views went crazy. For anybody who's tuning into this and hasn't watched it yet, can you summarize what that journey was actually like?
yeah.
Because
Okay.
it's extraordinary.
So I remember scanning my hand. I remember in the vision, I was trying to scan my hands over a map of Australia, and I kind of got an idea based on what Saul had showed me. And I was like, I've got to hone in on Victoria in Melbourne, because people had been saying, people were suffering, they just got into lockdown. It was full on and nobody could understand why. And I was like, I want to know for sure, because I know that other people that I admired had tried to look in these tunnels and they claimed there was nothing, or that it was cocaine or it was money or whatever, right? And I just knew that something wasn't right. And I wanted to prove for myself. I did kind of have a skeptical kind of view. And I thought maybe we'll see some adrenochrome stuff. Maybe. I don't know. I thought it would be like a more clinical scientific sort of labs. So when I go in there, I pretty much, I start seeing what you would call like a mythical world, but it's pretty much full of demons. Like, and they were real. Like this was like, it was like I was there. There's a feeling of like I'm floating and I'm right behind them. Like I could see them. I could see the spine of this beast that was sort of hunched over, and it was lapping up blood on the floor. And I saw children that were very deformed, and their skin was almost like this splotchy white grey color and very fragile, and their faces, everything was not quite right about them. There's a famous painting, I think, is it Goya? I'm just trying to remember. And there's this beast that's sort of eating.
Yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the stuff that I was seeing. I was seeing this. It was almost like, and even like I don't want to say it's like a Hieronymus Bosch kind of painting, but it was horrible. But there were mostly these demonic entities. But the thing that freaked me out the most, and I saw minotaurs. I saw
That's what I connect
gargoyles.
with, because I'd had a vision of a minotaur demon that came to me, was snorting. It was more
Yeah,
real than reality, and it was
yeah.
basically saying, "Aren't you scared?" And I was like, "No," but it was so.
That
And
was
I'd forgotten about it, and then I saw your video. I was like, "I saw the same thing." Oh my god!
that was one of the first things that I saw. I mean, you're talking about, it's like Greek mythology, really. I mean, and the thing is, the word mythology itself, people don't realize what it actually means. It doesn't mean false. It doesn't mean false, right? Mythology is a history. It's
Yeah,
about the spoken word, right?
yeah.
Or I don't know if it's written word or spoken word, but it's about a history, and their myths were their histories, and there is truth to them. And I think that this world that we've been, especially the last 200 years, all of this stuff has been demonized. Schooling has just shut all of this information down.
Slow down.
Nobody believes in hell. It's just this thing that people joke about now. And I mean, if you ever went to Sunday school, they do it just to piss you off. They'd be like, if you do the wrong thing, you're going to hell. And, you start going, that's bullshit.
Yeah, whatever.
Right? But there is a hell, but it's not where the damned go, is it? Like it's actually the vampiric entities that feed off us energetically and literally. And to see the Minotaur, but also a Cyclops, I saw like this, it wasn't a Cyclops with one eye, but had that kind of, it just reminded me of Greek mythology. But the freakiest thing that I saw, and I knew, and I saw that the children being eaten, it was almost like just a factory line of children. This felt like this was the depths of, it felt like there was two layers, and it felt like this was deep underground. I could hear noises, I could smell things, I could hear water dripping.
Were they aware of you?
No.
So they're not aware of you at all.
I don't think that, you know, to be honest with you, this is the freakiest thing, and I think you'll be interested in this. Um, Ever since all of this happened, I'm so protected. Like, I can't even begin to tell you.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I've got like 12 layers of protection over me. Like,
yeah.
and I'm not even trying. I've not had any issues. I have no issues with my energy. I don't feel drained at all. I'm barely sleeping. I just feel like there's this, you know, this role that I've got, this mission that I've got, and I'm like, I'm not tired. I mean, I get tired, like I get sore eyes and I need to go to sleep. Like I try. I probably fall asleep at like 3 a.m. now, you know, but then I wake up and I'm fine. And I think the meditation also rejuvenates you, and you know, and it's because it's this it's almost like God's work. I don't know how else to put
No,
it.
it is God's work.
Yeah.
No
And
question.
it's shining the light on this
Yeah.
darkness that's there that people forgot about. And
Were you scared? Were you, you know, some people would say, "Oh, that's really scary." And if you're seeing children being eaten, that's quite horrific. How
I
do you?
was I was astonished, and the freakiest thing was the center of Australia was like a pit of fire. It wasn't. It was like lava, pit of fire. Sorry.
But you called it a sinkhole, I think.
Yeah, it was like a sinkhole, because what happened before my eyes. Because I was like, oh my god! Like I was just seeing these scenes of these minotaurs, and um, I was sort of drawn to the center of Australia, and I was like, oh my God, that's why it's called the red center. Oh my God, that's why nothing grows there. That's why it's so dry underneath, because like right underneath, there was like this lava pit almost, and it was like this swirling thing, and all of these demons were falling into it. It was like something had activated that. And this is something I never got to explain. It felt like something had activated this pit of fire to swallow them up, and they were all getting destroyed. So
So this is like a really good thing happening in the middle of Australia.
at the moment, yeah.
And
I think,
you described it as a whirlpool, didn't you?
yeah, it was like a whirlpool,
About
and
the
it was
same
like,
time that Trump was doing a talk in front of 17 whirlpools.
and when I said whirlpool, and I said it's like this drain was, and I was like, oh my God, drain in the swamp. What the hell?
Yeah.
I didn't realize until afterwards. Oh my God, this is like literal. And the other thing is, what I say to everybody in my videos is that you've got to stop thinking of this world as just 3D, because the 3D is the illusion, okay? And the the 3D is the illusion, and so what we're seeing and what I'm describing, it's on a different, I guess, a different dimension. It could be 4D, they could be like 4D creatures, and but I'm able to see them, so they are affecting us. And the way the Alliance is fighting all of this stuff is on multi dimensions. Okay, so you can sit there and say there's aliens coming and saving us and doing this, but I think it's just I just think there's other dimensions. Yeah, there's other dimensional help, you know, higher dimensional help. I think there's like occult practitioners that are helping. I think you've got military. I think you've got, you know, political sort of stuff. So this, all these layers, and this is, you're talking about thousands of years of absolute inversion of our reality, and the matrix, I guess you could call it, is completely controlled for that reason. Like they were feeding off us, right? And all of that has to come down. And this is this dissecting and dismantling of this whole thing that has a hold on us. And they're feeding off our energy, not just literally feeding off children. They're feeding from what I felt, what I saw was this like the earth the way it should have been, and this darkness that was sort of stuck to the bottom. It was almost like a magnet. So we had this polar, this duality, right? But what they were doing was that because of the suffering that, or the darkness that the energy that they exuded, the frequency that they exuded, that kind of like was permeating up to the upper layers, and that's what's kind of holding us down to this reality. That's what it felt like. I think that there is a theory that if this is a computer simulation, like let's say there's an organic sort of earth, and there's a computer simulation over the top controlling the reality or what we're seeing, there's a virus in it. Like this is why this stuff is so twisted.
Yeah, this is the real virus. Is these
yeah.
mother? I'm not going to call them that on this channel, but And I've felt that since I was a kid. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this demonic energy. My first memory was demons coming to me in my
Wow.
bedroom, and I've always known it. And then you kind of put it to one side, you get on with your life, kind of forget about it, and then it just won't leave you alone because it's there, and you see things, and you like, and you know, I shouldn't tell anybody about this, but we're in this time of truth, and you're like a shining beacon to me, and to hundreds of thousands of other people at the moment. And I'm interested in that idea because I think you mentioned that you saw the Earth as kind of flat, and you were apologising for it, which I understand why you were doing that, because that's the easiest way to discredit somebody is to call you a flat earther. But
I'm not a flat earther, by the way.
I
I'm
know
not a
I'm
flat
not either,
earther.
but I understand I understood what you meant, and it is like that. You know, I've described this as a farm for years. We are literally in a farm, and it's kind of like the mystery schools taught about this being a facsimile Earth, and that we die, but we go to a certain level. It is like afterlife, but then you get recycled, you come back, because it's just about soul, loosh, energy, blood.
Well, that's part of the matrix. That's a false system. So, and also I think Hindus talk about that's moksha. I think I don't know if that's in the Hindu religion, moksha. So that's the recycling of the souls, but that's a trap.
Yeah, it's a trap. That's what I mean.
Trap.
Yeah,
We go, oh, I have, I was Cleopatra in a past life or blah blah. That's a trap.
Yeah.
Let's get out of
It's
here,
not where we're
right?
supposed to be. It's like a ceiling. I see it as a ceiling, and people stay within it. They don't go where they really should go, which is up there.
Actually, it looks like a net. So when I've seen it, okay, it's a net. The other thing that this can lead on to this discussion about chakras and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The other thing that I've realized quite profoundly is that there's a lot of terminology that people use, particularly in New Age doctrine and things like that, that is really just of this matrix. Okay?
Yes.
So
well, I think the New Age thing is part of the trap.
It is part of the trap.
I've always felt like that. And I've been to ayahuasca ceremonies, I've done this, that, and the other, and I've always felt a little bit uncomfortable because I didn't quite understand. I thought there's something else beyond this. I've always felt that, and your videos really confirmed that I'm not the only crazy one.
Well, it's a little bit like you've got to understand. I've been counselling people for decades, and a lot of them, when they first discover that they want to know more about their life, they get caught up in that New Age stuff. And I've always said, and you can ask any of my clients, I've said, don't believe everything you read. There's a lot of stuff, and I even worked in crystal shops and bookshops with all this stuff, and I go, don't have to believe it all. Like, come on, man. Like the whole Dorian virtue stuff and all, it's marketed virtue signaling, I guess, kind of, you could say that. It's sort of like this, this marketed stuff to make you feel, oh, love and light and all of that. There is truth in it. There is sort of like occulted messages and information. Yes.
Exactly the same as the Bible. There's lots of truth in that, but they took out bits that, stop you going the whole way. Because they understand that we're spiritual. They understand the demons I'm talking about. They understand that. They have to give us enough to shut us up. We become satisfied.
Yeah, and it gives you that sense of, it gives you that sense. The other thing is like if we're in this matrix, now this is like Chris Geo and Cherie Geo, they do a lot of ayahuasca and stuff, and the stuff that they've sort of come to the conclusion of, they're on Beyond the Veil, by the way. So I've did it.
Oh yeah, the radio. They're brilliant.
Yeah, and we're good friends and stuff. We've become friends and stuff.
I just subscribed to the channel. They're fantastic.
Yeah, they're amazing. So I mean, that's their level of gnosis is like right up here, right? Because a lot of beginners are like, they're not going to get this. They're not going to get the stuff that they talk about, because it really blows your mind about your entire reality is not what you think it is.
No.
And so, I was going to say about, if we're in this matrix, then the things like the entities that are positive are even of this matrix, right? They're a creation of this. So angels are part of that. Spirit guides are part of that. Different sort of levels of maybe entities that are speaking to you are part of that. It's all part of this reality. It's been created for this reality only. And those of us who are from outside of this reality, we weren't created in this reality, we've got another place to go to, right? And it's not outer space. It's like outside. I don't know how to explain it other than this. We're not talking about planets in space, but we're not from here. We created this as game, as a simulation, right? This is just a theory that this is a belief system I have, okay? And it's because of the stuff that I've seen and I've pieced things together, but I don't want anyone to take this on board and say they believe it, okay? Because you need to experience it for yourself, and you need to be able to, really sort of process this information for yourself and live through it to understand this. But I've had so many visions that I have pieced this information together, and that's what I believe is the reality. I mean, I've seen myself in a pod, okay? I know I'm not from here. This is a simulation, okay? And so back to the new age stuff. I mean, this stuff sort of keeps you trapped, okay? So the stories of like, oh, there's angels and then they're going to help you and all of that, and people find comfort in that, and that's fine, that's okay. But because there was this corruption of our reality, this takeover of these demonic entities, these archonic entities, they have corrupted these things that were made for us, that were supposed to help us, okay? So when you're channeling information from, say, an angel, which is what I used to do in my 20s, I used to think, I've got, oh my God, I'm channeling this stuff. And we don't know who that is talking to you.
Who's talking to us? Because they're great deceivers.
They
I've
are.
known this for a long time.
100%. And I've had my run-ins with Ouija boards.
Well, me too.
Ouija boards. Okay. And that's a story. That's a whole movie in itself.
Well,
okay?
we're going to do 4 or 5 videos. Which is
Okay, we'll do. I'll have to tell you about it beforehand, because that was freaky. Okay. But that cemented all this stuff, all this experience I've had with these other things, these demonic things, these things that you can't trust. And even going out on a limb and saying to people, and I'm willing to say I was wrong, okay? I'm willing to say I was wrong. And I think that's really important. Like your belief systems are going to change. Or as your understanding unravels and gets revealed to you. No, I'm on a public platform, but I'm going to have to really just say, I'm sorry, but I don't believe that anymore. But I've done a lot of that in my 20s and 30s. And one of those things was spirit guides. Now, that was my business. I did spirit guide portraits. I was known as the artist who did spirit guide portraits. And these weren't just, you get the spirit guide portraits and they look like they drew it with their foot. Like, really. I'm an actual artist. So
my spirit guide is actually a foot. That's weird.
Now, look, I don't believe like people don't have guides. I think that you do have guides, but how do I solidify that entity in this? They're multidimensional.
Yeah.
You probably can't even see them with your naked eye, and what they're presenting to me is like a past life, or it's not necessarily how they embody themselves or how their feelings. So how do you draw that? How do you? It was something that I was starting to become puzzled by, and I couldn't in good faith continue doing that for people. I was also, I'm a medium as well, but I really got to the point where I just decided I'm going to stop doing mediumship because it was draining me, and that's a bad sign, right? Mm-hmm. It was draining me. Like I was hitting the nails on the head. People were like freaking out, like, how did you know that? Like, specific things like their uncle's favorite food, or a cultural word that I didn't even speak the language and I was seeing these things. Okay. So there's not a question of, you're not good at being a medium. But the thing was, I started to realize was I don't know what's coming through. I have to protect myself. This could be draining. If I have an attachment, how do I get rid of it? And if they're draining you, then they're feeding off you. So that we know that these are deceivers. And I was just getting to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm not doing it anymore. And whenever anyone asked me, I would say, and they always leave it to the last minute. Like I'll do a whole reading and they'll go, oh, by the way, did my uncle come through? And you're like, oh God. So right at the bat, I just started saying to people, I'm not doing it anymore. And I also, the spirit guide portraits, I couldn't do it in good faith anymore. And this was because of this. What I realized is that if it's in this reality and keeping us in this, this cycle of reincarnation, it's a trap.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, as much as everyone would love to, think of this as this beautiful, we go to heaven, and I'm sure that there is an ability to do that if we can just get this matrix sort of broken down, so that all these entities are not trying to pull us back down.
Let's talk about that. Do you feel like it is being taken down now? Because you mentioned September the 17th as a big day. And this is when I did an interview with a friend of mine, Leo, in Barnes, on my own channel, and we talked about you because we'd seen you, and we talked about all of that stuff because of you.
Yeah,
And,
I'm flattered.
September the 17th, and it's quite funny because I think the next day I was feeling really tired, but this morning, last night actually here in Ireland, the sky was so incredible last night, and it doesn't I've never seen here. And then the same thing this morning, and I'm driving my son to school, and we see this rainbow, and I'm just going, it feels different, doesn't it? And my son's very touched in, he said tapped in, sorry, and he said the same thing. He said, yeah, it does kind of feel different, and it's just a little bit more beautiful.
Yeah, it's like something is.
Light.
So what I saw, what I was told, was the September 17th date, and I tend to be very I give dates, right, and they usually work out, because I've always been like that. Like I could sort of pinpoint a month where they, like someone's going to meet someone, and it ends up happening. They go, oh my God, you said April, and it was April, and so with this, it's a feeling. I want to describe to you how it's like I can see a timeline in front of me, and I can feel it on a gut level of bumps in the road or energy shifts. I don't pay attention to astrology. I try not to get any external information because I don't want to corrupt that information. I don't want to know too much, and especially now that I've done this channel, I don't watch anything anymore. I used to love watching Charlie Ward, and I used to love it, but I try not to get too much intel outside, and I just try and go with the feeling. So this thing of this September, I didn't even know it was a new moon. So apparently it's new moon, 17th of September was. But it felt like the swinging of the pendulum. It was like it's now going back the other way.
It's over the hill.
It was like the midpoint. Yeah, it was like a midpoint.
And it was the 17th.
It was the 17th, and I think that. Sorry, I keep itching my ear. I think that
we're allowed to have itchy ears. It's okay. That's allowed.
I need to get new headphones. I think that we're starting to swing to the positive. I believe the light has won already. I think what we're seeing is just the residual energy of these little sleeper cells and things like that. I mean, it's so complex. And then on top of that, you've got all the people who are still not quite aware of what's going on. They're not awakened to that. I don't think they will wake up. I think that it's going to be a hard road for a lot of those people.
Do you think some of those people will get left behind?
I'm still trying to get a sense of how to describe that to people. Because I think that you stay here, but it's this gradual kind of, it's like an ascension on a spiritual level or a soul level, okay, but you're still here. I don't know how else to explain. It's very difficult because it's so layered.
Yeah, I've been trying to work it out for years, but it's starting to become apparent to me in my own life, but it's very, very difficult to explain to somebody that has no idea.
Because it's not like they disappear. I really don't think that people disappear, okay? It's too, I was talking to Chris Geo about this last night. It's too, it's like this reality has a fail-safe in it, and things that are anomalies, like people suddenly disappearing like a rapture, it's not going to happen like that, right? So I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't think people are going to disappear in front of our eyes. I think there might be deaths that, for some people where maybe they're going back to their home planet.
I have noticed over the last couple of years, a few people have checked out. And I knew intuitively they checked out because they couldn't cope with what was coming.
Yeah, they couldn't cope with what was coming. And
I mean suicides by that, by the way, just to be clear.
You do mean suicide? Is that
I do, yeah. When I say checked out, I mean, checked out, died, suicide, whatever.
Yeah, and I don't think I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, I mean, I think that if that's what they, a lot of the time, and from what I have tapped in when I was a medium, well, I am a medium, but like when I did that stuff, and all the suicided people, you know, they immediately knew, you know, what they did, and they said I had no other way out. Like I literally had no other way out. And you know, it was too much for me. But I'm being told that, you know, what I did, you know, I just can remember all the beautiful souls that I kind of helped along the way that, you know, committed suicide. But yeah, there's not, that whole damnation thing about those people that have committed suicide, that's not real. Okay.
No,
That's just a human judgment. Yeah.
yeah.
But I think we were talking about ascension and all of those sorts of stuff. I mean, there's so many theories. There is a feeling of like, you can see it now. Okay. Right. So what did we say at the start of this? Our friends seem to have disappeared. Right.
Yeah.
Look, I literally don't know where they are. They don't even family, like it's like they don't resonate with you anymore. And I think that's a frequency thing that we're starting to see. And the way you and I met, and I'm glad that gets it, because I wanted to sort of talk about this, but you know, I'm sure you feel this, you're starting to meet people that it's like you've known forever.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, I feel like I've known you forever.
Yeah, like like when I said, when I saw you in the video, I was just like, I know him. Like, how do I know him? I just know him. Like I felt this comfort, you know, I felt this comfort, like I know this person. This is, you know, I just,
because I've got a face like an old chair. An old pair
God,
of flippers.
God, that could go in a really bad direction, that joke. So.
Oh yeah. So, I didn't mean that.
But you know, and you start, everyone's starting to come together, and this is why we created this group, this Quantum Truths, the Great Awakening and Beyond. Everyone's sort of going, I've never
It's a great group.
So yeah, they're like, I've never
I was
felt
looking
so
at it this morning. Just stuff that people are coming out of is just fabulous.
Yeah, the discussions are amazing. I mean, I do try to get involved, but I think I should stop because it's taking up all my time.
Yeah, you
so,
won't have life, you.
People
Yeah.
keep tagging me, and I'm like, oh, I've got to answer this, you know. So I've really got to stop that. But there's just so positive, and people are resonating in a particular way, and the other people that don't resonate, they're just, it's like you can't get through to them. There's
That's
no
right.
way.
They're busy watching ABC, RTE, BBC with their masks on. You know.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Absolutely. And my with the you know, people resonating with each other, you know, I'm starting to see in my life people that it's like we're all coming together, like we're like, we did it, this is it, this is the mission. I mean, just from that group, I've met up with two lovely people on the weekend, and honestly, I just felt like I knew them for years. Like we were, you know, it's amazing. I mean, I just couldn't believe how, and we hugged each other like we hadn't seen each other in thousands of years.
Oh, you actually met them physically?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and this was...
So all my new friends are on Zoom.
Oh, I know.
Everyone's
far away.
Hello. Hello.
One day we'll meet.
Yeah.
So, like, so this thing, like I saw something under Uluru. This is
Well, I was going to ask you, but you keep reading my mind. Stop it. Otherwise, I'm not asking any questions. Uluru.
Well, Uluru, if you don't know, is a very sacred.
Otherwise known as rock in the colonial language. Correct?
Yes.
So everybody knows.
Traditional name is Uluru.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very significant. Now, I never took, you know, I never had any thoughts about Uluru. I mean, I've always loved the indigenous cultures of, you know,
Have you been there, by the way? Have you been there? You've never been there?
Never.
How far away is it from you now? Where are you?
Very.
Like,
you know, Australia is bigger than Europe, right? So
yeah,
Australia's,
I know it's pretty big, yeah.
Australia's, like, I live in just outside of Sydney, and Uluru is like way inland in the Red Centre near Alice Springs. I mean, you're talking, I don't know how many hours it would take to get there, but by plane.
Well, you're going there anyway in December, aren't you?
Yes. Well, I'm still trying to work that all out, and I don't want to sort of...
well, you might be going, but you've had an invitation.
Yeah, because we don't know about the quarantine stuff. Like, you know, I feel everything will be okay, but they're going to do this.
It'll be gone.
Yeah, because I felt like November, that's all gone. But, you know, because they still have that restriction of 2 weeks quarantine. It's like, come on, man.
Well,
so we, yeah. Right? So I saw something under Uluru, which in this journeying, and it was very significant, and I had no idea about it. And the stuff I was tapping into, I guess you've got to watch the video because I won't go through it, but the stuff I was tapping into, and I was the person who came through to me in the
Yep.
journeying, the important person who said to me, you know, you've tapped into something that no one knows about, you need to create the group. He specifically said about Uluru, he said nobody knows about that, or there is only elders sort of knew about it, and the stuff that you were sort of picking up on, I think it's very compartmentalized. So some people will say they know about the prophecy because it's related to a prophecy. It's an ancient prophecy that the original people of Australia have carried through, you know, from by word of mouth. I don't want to be a spokesperson for that. I started thinking about that the other day, and I thought, you know, I have been suddenly become very, very involved in the original people's culture, and I'm not Indigenous, so I have been invited though, and I have been recognised by them
Yeah, but
to
you're a bridge.
participate.
I see you as a bridge.
Yes, yeah, that's right. And they've, you know, they've said to
They
me,
recognise that too.
we thank you, yeah. And they said that, they said, I think it doesn't matter, but because to them, spirit chooses the person,
Yeah.
chooses who should participate in ceremonies, etc. But you know, I don't want to get anyone's nose out of joint, so I'm sort of trying to hold back on telling people too much. But there is some sacred ceremonies that I'm being invited by an elder to take part in, and then we need to, and don't forget, there's like tribes throughout Australia, and they do communicate with each other, but we still got to get there, right? And all of us have to kind of work together. All these other tribes have to work together to do this sacred ceremony. I don't want to go too much into that
No, we don't need to. But
prophecy.
can you tell us what you saw underneath Uluru?
Okay, so Uluru.
Briefly, you know.
So this is part of the tunnel system visualization. So yeah, that was in that same meditation. So the tunnels took me to Pine Gap. I could see it from like a bird's eye view. Pine Gap, and it was like I couldn't see what was underground. I just knew things were being
I'll just
dismantled,
explain to
right?
anybody that doesn't know about Pine Gap, because Pine Gap is where there's this huge American base type military place, like Area 51 type
Yeah,
places.
like Area 51. And I did do a video on that. So
Oh no, I know you've got videos on all of these, but
yeah,
this is just for anybody who's not seen all of those videos.
yeah. So
Yeah,
there's Pine Gap and Woomera as well. Woomera is a place in South Australia, and then you've got Northern Territory, and that's where Pine Gap is. And apparently they're linked. So this was a US military facility, and people have speculated that they were doing cloning and other types of experiments underground. Um, Trump withdrew funding to Pine Gap, quite a substantial amount, something like 80% of their funding. He wouldn't fund that anymore. So that was kind of an indicator that that's shut down, right? What I picked up on in one of my other videos was that, and that was the one about the stolen generation, Indigenous people, was that they literally they just had security there, but everything underground was done. Like they've shut it down. Okay. And I also felt like there was some parts that were dismantled using off-world sort of technology or people, you know, help.
hmm.
Um, so under Uluru, though, I mean, this was spectacular. It was like an amazing thing. So I saw this sphere of light. I call it sphere of light. It was a crystal, and outside of it was like this light just emanating from it. It felt almost like, I don't know if you've seen selenite. It was
No,
like crystals. Okay, selenite is a crystal that's white, and it's kind of like you could sort of see through it. Like it's pretty spectacular. But this was like a light emanating from underneath Uluru. Now, I knew nothing about this. I didn't know there was a prophecy associated. I didn't know that people had talked about, um, you know, crystals under Uluru or anything like that. But this sphere of light it also had writing around it. This could be metaphorical,
hmm.
but it had like what I think might be light language of some kind around it. There was, however, I felt a darkness, a black. People think it's black goo, but it didn't look. It just looked like black darkness from the hell had corrupted this beautiful white light that was underneath Uluru. I felt instinctively that Uluru was the heart of Gaia. and that the reason why everything was so in, horrible on this earth, and why the planet was just not working, why the climate was being manipulated and destroyed, and why everyone had lost their way and had lost their connection to Gaia, was because it was like this darkness was holding her heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it literally looked like it looked like black spider legs kind of, but it was solidified like a petrified sort of thing. It was black, right? And that was draining the beautiful energy from the heart of Gaia. I feel there's so much more to this that I don't say, but when I tapped into it again at a later stage, the blackness was crumbling. So had started to come down. So whatever they're doing is slowly crumbling this. This was also connected to the Vatican. So this energy was also connected to the Vatican. There is a demon underneath the Vatican, which I've got a video on. And that is, it's using this, it's draining this beautiful heart energy, I guess, from the center of Australia. So this is why this hub of shit is going on here, and why the lockdowns are so just so full on, because there's so many layers to this. You really have to watch the videos. I don't know how else to explain it, but there is some things that I saw that what it represents. One of the things I didn't mention in a video, but I can say it. And I've told the elder about it, and she said, well, that makes sense. I was one of the light. Okay. So I haven't told anyone this.
Okay.
Okay. So I've been told that I'm the keeper of the light. Okay. And when I told one of the elders this, she said, oh, I'm the keeper of ceremonies. It was like this. I was like, so it's a thing, right? It's like, just, it's part of it. This is how they know that this is important. This is pretty groundbreaking stuff, because I haven't told anyone this. The other thing was that I felt like I was rising above Uluru in this vision. I didn't say this in the video, so this is the first time I'm mentioning this. And I was like a light body with 6 other light bodies. There were 7 of us circling around above Uluru, and the message was, focus your intent, focus your love, on Uluru, and sort of stop her from being enslaved, like stop the heart from being enslaved, try to break down the darkness. And we were putting our intention into that beautiful crystal, or the sphere of light underneath Uluru. So these 7 beings, like and I was one of them, they were like light bodies, and they're kind of bluish white. And turns out that this prophecy is to do with the 7 sisters. And I never knew about that. Now, I live in the Blue Mountains, just outside of Sydney, near Katoomba, and one of our famous landmarks here is called the 3 Sisters, but traditionally it's called the 7 Sisters. So I'm actually on the land of the 7 Sisters, okay? And there's a story behind all of that, and this prophecy kind of involves that as well. And I knew nothing about this. I didn't even know the 3 sisters were called the 7 Sisters, okay? But I was one of the, I'm not saying I'm one of the 7 sisters, but I felt like I was like empathically sort of feeling like one of the 7. And we were circling around. So it was all this symbology with this vision that I had. And when I put that video up, people were contacting me, and people who knew people were contacting me and saying, for instance, George Kavasalis, who is a very well-known speaker of, I guess, higher consciousness stuff, and he trains a lot of people in that. He doesn't like to use the word New Age because it's more than that. It's higher consciousness stuff. I'm having an interview with him tomorrow, actually. Right. He was one of the first people to contact me. He wanted to have a interview with me straight away, but he had a retreat to run. But he said, as soon as I saw your face, he said, like, I knew you. Yeah. And he was also, years ago, invited to Uluru to partake in a traditional ceremony. The elders actually made him an honorary tribes member, and he was allowed inside Uluru, like inside the rock. Okay. And he's a white man. Okay. And so now this thing's happening for me as well. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? So I'm going to be with the female elders. Again, I don't want to talk too much about it because there's a lot of sacred stuff that, yeah, and but there is preparation that's involved, and I don't want to sort of. I still kind of I need to know for sure. Like even though the elders have said to me, yeah, you are like all of this, we still don't know what's going ahead because of the stuff with the borders and all of that. But we do have a backup plan for another ceremony if we can't get to cross to Northern Territory. There is a backup plan to do ceremonies here because it really is about fixing the land. It's about putting energy into sacred sites across Australia, and they're doing ceremonies all the time. And what people don't realize is it's not this, it's so sacred that you even have to prepare your body for this stuff. You have to change your diet, you're not allowed to have sex. And they do this for months. Okay, so months on end of this kind of cleansing. Okay, because you need to be clean to do it. So when you've got people sort of going, oh, I'm going to come and I'm going to just play there and I'm going to watch this spectacle, this amazing, white people, we tend to sort of exotify everything and, this exoticism of the indigenous cultures. We've kind of got to be careful with all of that. And I'm very sort of, because this is not my culture, but I'm kind of being welcomed, I have to be very, very careful with the stuff I say. I don't tell anyone anything that I'm told. Okay. I got very, very specific information and I released a video about the stolen generation, what was underneath Woomera. And I mean, I'm telling you this, when I said who visited me to Auntie Trish, who is one of the elders, when I told her like what happened, she's like, I know who that is. I know that spirit because he comes to me and he gives me information and blah, blah, blah. So they know. And it was very, very significant. And that was the turning point because he said to me to upload this. He said, put the message out before the 17th of September. And I really feel that there's some kind of energetic thing on the earth that must have turned at that point. And this message had to get out there. And they knew that I had enough of an audience for that to kind of go viral and for it to be spread and the news to be spread. So from that point, that video about what's going on underground or what went underground, the destruction of the indigenous people and what was really going on and why they were being harvested, essentially, their energy harvested. That needed to get out because they're going to take their land back. This is it. This is it. No more oppression, right? This is the point where there's no more oppression. So that tells me that this matrix structure is coming down because these are the people that were attacked first. I mean, and we're talking like all indigenous cultures when I say this.
First thing they do.
And Celtic people are involved in this too.
Oh,
now, if
Ireland has been under the cosh forever. Very, very.
Yeah. And we were talking about this, I think, a lot of people don't know that Darwinism, The Descent of Man, the book that he wrote, was actually, people think it's just about the evolution of animals and things like that, or that we came from pond scum. He actually very, very, deliberately wrote in there that the Irish are the lowest of the low. I mean, it was a very, very racist, horrible document.
Like Stephen Hawking's, like loads of these are the gatekeepers, the demonic gatekeepers of this matrix.
And that's scientism. It's what it's like a religion, right?
Yeah, I'm just done with it.
Yeah, that's right. And so with the like these indigenous cultures, like so the Celts and the Native Americans and the Maoris and the indigenous people of Australia, the originals, all of these people, if you know anything about alien abduction, I think there's a guy out there who sort of specializes in analyzing who are the types of people that get abducted. They nearly always have Irish DNA and indigenous. Okay, nearly always. So that tells you that they're doing something. They're trying to either harvest the energy or destroy
and stop that, keep everybody separated, stop that knowledge, stop people connecting with Gaia, the earth, etc.
Yeah, and that's the feeling I got was that they were almost like a master. I don't want to say master race because then everyone's going to go, hey, wait a minute, like what about us? No, it's like uncorrupted bloodlines, I guess you could call it, or there's some kind of sacredness about them that knows this first knowledge, this essential knowledge that has been just wiped out and destroyed. The way we should be living, this harmony with
Mm.
Earth. It's kind of like Avatar, you know what I mean? This harmony with Earth, because this is how do you understand your reality if you're living in this 3D only? And you know that these indigenous cultures very, very heavily, they believe, I mean, you know, Dreamtime, for example, this is a religion. It's such harmony with the earth. They see totems, they see signs in everything with nature. And nature is the one thing that doesn't lie to you, right?
Yeah.
Because everything else is illusory. Everything else is just an illusion. But you know, and that's why we've got to sort of return to that. And that's kind of what inspired me to sort of tell people, you've got to go back into your heart, like into your heart center. Your heart center is connected to Gaia, you know, essentially. Um, it's the one thing that is true. It's connected to not just Gaia, it's connected to who you really are. And everything else is just, it's your avatar, it's whatever, you know. It's not, this external stuff is not who you really are. And you really have to get to that core of who you are to understand your truth. And you can't do that if if you're stuck up here. The truth is not up here. So when I see people analyzing data and going, hang on a minute, let's just work out, do we believe this or do we believe that? And I went on a big rant yesterday, and I wrote this big article about truth and the truther movement, because I was just getting fed up with people slandering and like making just sort of making fun of a lot of people who were really sharing incredible truths. And it just sort of goes to show that the more people try to take the more knowledge or the more truth that people share, the more of a target they're going to be. I mean, it started to happen with me. I mean, my channel's only 3 weeks old, but you know, I'm under the radar, and I got hacked yesterday. I've had, you know, fake accounts sort of come in and try and discredit me or say things that I didn't say, and I know it's just to, you know, besmirch my name, and I don't really care.
No.
I don't really care, because it's like I really have to just focus on getting the truth out there, helping people. I'm just a sort of a mouthpiece for this. I'm not a guru, and I keep saying this to everybody. So many people say to me, "Oh my God, in your videos, you seem like you're angry." I'm not angry. I just, you know, it's kind of like
You're
I'm
just
trying.
righteous. Just like, look, I'm not a guru. It's like I said to you on the phone the other day. It's like living in a Monty Python movie, and you're like, we're all individuals. I'm not.
Yeah, yeah. You're all
It's,
individual. I know. I feel like saying I'm not the Messiah. I'm just a very
you're a very
naughty
naughty girl.
girl.
But you know,
But
that's what happens when you start telling the truth. People come to you and say, well, what about this? What about that? What about this? And it's because they're in a little bit of a panic. And
mm,
you know, the way that you're talking to people, I love it. I think it's absolutely very important that you say, hey, you know, boundaries here.
yeah, I'm really, really blunt. And I think that's another thing that resonates with people, because we've been told to silence and censor ourselves. And because I'm not, and I'm just like unashamedly blunt, I'm being really polite here, but you know, you've seen my Q&A, bloody hell. It's like
I love it. Look, there's no,
I'm really, really, really blunt. And it's,
you know
you know,
exactly where you
people,
stand with you. That's what I like. You know,
that's
I must admit, sometimes I want to message you, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll leave her because she's really busy. But you know, that's good. That's good.
now you're in my inner circle now,
Oh,
so
that's
that's
good.
okay.
That's
So you can message me anytime.
good.
There's
You
certain
know,
people that are in there, but like, you know, I mean, the funny thing is, maybe I'm going to change the subject, but like, with all of this, because I guess you and I both went through this sudden rise to fame. This is the fine line we're walking, as like kind of spiritual warriors, right? Because we know the truth and we know what we're here to do. We know this mission. We have this drive inside of us to be like a representative or a light or a trigger for people to wake up and do, you know, become sovereign and take back their power and remember who they are. That's essentially my message, right? part of that, unfortunately, because I seem to be accessible to people because my videos are usually just on my phone and my face is like right up there and everyone's looking in my eyes and thinking I'm a cat. And what the hell is that about?
That's
Did
that
you
was a
hear about that
reflection,
thing?
light reflection, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a reflection of the curtain in front of me. Anyway, everyone's going, oh my God, your eyes are slit. You're a reptilian. And I'm like, what?
Oh, I've got a
Um,
funny one for you. I've got a funny one for you. I would talk about the Minotaur the other day, and I was reading
oh,
comments, and some guy said, "Did Mark talk about mining towns?" I've got a really. It's like did a whole thing like this about mining towns. I was like, Minotaur, mining towns. Jesus, this was my accent.
yeah, you're going to have to say Minotaur, I think.
That's what's going to happen, though. It's going to happen.
Yeah. But yeah, people, I mean, the thing is because we're accessible now and people really feel they know me, you know, for example, they really, really feel that they know me and I'm their friend and that they can trust me. And they really, a lot of people need that leader. Okay. But what I felt compelled to say to people is you have to be your own leader because I can see the writing on the wall, right? I can see the writing on the wall. There are going to be those detractors who say, she started a cult. Like
Yeah,
she started a cult. Bloody hell. Look at them. They're all worshipping her. And there is people that tend to do that. They tend to look up to others. And I look, honestly, that group is so like they're so beautiful and I'm starting to recognize names and things like that and I'm I get a feeling for how people are and those people who share a lot of information or who regularly comment. This is saving a lot of people's sanity because they're connecting with
right.
community and all of that and they sort of see me as the person who triggered that, right? So they're very, very grateful for that. And but I'm seeing the writing on the wall and I really, really have to nip it in the bud really early on that I'm not a guru. Okay. I can't answer all of your questions. You really have to start just taking my words and using it as inspiration for you to then take back your power and really go within because the reality is this world's been lying to you and you need to question everything. The 3D world is not real. The things you're seeing outside of yourself are a movie. They're a movie. I've answered very, very specific questions in my Q&A, and a lot of these things I don't think anyone's talked about. I got confirmation for some of the stuff that I've said afterwards. People contacted me in like Intel, and they said, "How did you know that?" Nobody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's stuff that I've said on Friday that is true, but I can't prove it. You just have to take my word for it, okay? Like
Well,
I
that's it.
can't prove that it's true.
We're in a time of intuition. This is
Yeah.
we have to trust our inner voice, and that's what you're showing people beautifully. But there will be people that will always come, and say,
They
"Oh,
still need, yeah, a leader. They
it's
do
kind of
need a
not
leader.
their fault because they've been trained to
No.
do that." But I've been going on about. I even say to my kids every day, be rebellious, ask questions, question everything, including what I just said,
Yes,
right? Because
absolutely. And I've even said that to my clients too. I always said to them, I'll keep talking over the top of you, sorry, Mark. I say that to my clients all the time. I'm like, I even used to offer a money back guarantee. Like I used to go, look, if you have a reading with me and you don't like, I'll give you your money back.
Mhm.
I am not here. This is not a party trick. I'm not trying to prove myself to anyone. I'm trying to get to the truth for you and I'm going to give it to you as best I can. If I don't know something, I'm going to tell you I don't know it. But the biggest thing I say to them is be skeptical of what I'm saying. Okay. You don't have to believe everything I'm saying. The one thing I don't like is when my words are twisted. Okay. So you don't have to believe any of my videos. All right. And, if you don't believe it, this is what I sort of think. If you don't believe it, then just scroll past. Give me a thumbs down. Give
It's
me a
not.
thumbs down. You don't have to sit there. You're really going to be in a sea of positivity there, and people are going to attack you if you start saying, this is bullshit, whatever. Okay, that's fine. You might not be resonating with that information, but there are things that I say that are helping people. So there might not be the predictions that I'm helping people with, but it might be suddenly we've got this massive movement of people who've never meditated in their life wanting to meditate. And this is,
Absolutely, and that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
yes,
I put up a thing about I made some. What did I make? I made some quinine, homemade quinine last night. Put it up on Facebook this morning.
that's right.
Now everybody's making quinine.
Yeah, that's right. It triggers it.
That's what
Yeah.
it's about. It's a collaboration. We've all got our parts to play. We're all doing the things that we're good at. What you're doing is incredible. We're all really grateful for what you're doing, and we're all here supporting you and protecting you, and it's just wonderful to see, and it's wonderful to talk to you, and or for you to talk to me, and to get this out. I'm gonna wrap it up because it's like
Yeah.
90 minutes. It's a big amount of
We
energy.
can talk forever,
I
can't we,
know.
Mark?
I would love
We've
to.
got to do some more. Can we
I'm
do
always
more?
mindful of these 3-4 hour videos, right? Because I watch them. I'm like, I want to watch
I
it.
love them. I know.
No, I'm going to watch it the next day. So I think we've covered tons of stuff there,
Yeah.
and I'm really really grateful that you chose to speak to me because I'm only a little.
No, honestly, I said like I'm not going to pursue any. I all the people that want interviews with me, they've approached me. I'm not here to try and promote myself. I mean, the fact that it's grown so quickly, it's like 18.6 thousand subscribers on YouTube. So like 110,000 views on that first video. I mean, everyone just blows up. All of them blow up, right? And they're shared everywhere. People are talking about me in interviews. You've talked about me so many times. I mean, I'm pretty, like, I don't Google myself, but when I was like, what the hell? Everyone's talking about me.
You
This
don't
is
have to worry
amazing.
about it. I mean, the guy who came to speak to you at the beginning told you the truth, and we're,
Yes.
we're just helping, right?
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And that's the thing. Like, I've got an interview with Charlie Ward, which is huge. Like, I mean, that's their, did you get me in contact with them, or they
I've
knew
got,
about
I'll
me or
discuss
something
it.
you were mentioning? Yeah.
I
Yeah. And then their
can
people contacted
in touch with them
us.
because Charlie's got a great reach, and I think and he's a lovely guy, and I think it's really important that you get on there and talk.
Yeah, I do too. And I'm not going to go on a show where I don't support the person. This isn't about, like, if I don't resonate with. I've been approached by so many people, and everyone wants a piece of you, and they want it, and you can sort of read through why they want to interview you, and a lot of the time it's for their own benefit because they go, oh, okay, she's gone viral, so we're just going to like, and I
Well,
don't know,
yeah,
and I'm not resonating necessarily with their message. So a lot of stuff has been lost in the mix, but I'm very happy that a lot of the important people who I respected approached me first, which was really, that's the best thing. I do have an interview with Charlie Freak that I did last week, and I'm just waiting on the video because I didn't get to record it because I had technical
I can't
difficulties.
wait to see that.
So yeah, so he recorded it, but he's got to still edit it because we had this massive technical difficulty. So like, they've got so much work to do, but it
Yeah,
should be out soon,
great.
this week. Yeah. So Charlie Freak, I've done Beyond the Veil. I'm doing George Cavaslis tomorrow. I've got you. I've got Charlie Ward. I think Rakesh. I can't ever remember his surname. Rakesh, he's on Charlie Ward. He's been on Charlie Ward for a few times, and with Charlie Freak. So this is how the network works. Now, a lot of this can be misinterpreted as nepotism or something like that, right? People start thinking, oh, they're all corrupted or whatever, controlled opposition, and they're all sort of saying the same. No, this is not how it works. We're completely organic people. We're just ourselves. And social media took off. People resonated with the message, and then this network sort of starts to happen, and you kind of have to ride the wave. You just have to ride the wave.
I'm just a bloke in a kitchen.
I'm in my study, and it's like really messy. I've got books everywhere. Yeah. So, we just have to ride the wave, and we kind of have to, we've got this urge, and I'm sure you feel it as well, this urge to, and this is biblical. This really is this thing. This is like, what I feel, the urgency for this is like, you've got no other time. This is the time to wake up
right now,
because you're going to be left behind.
Absolutely.
Like and we really need to get you over the edge. And I think that this ceremony at Uluru has a lot to do with it.
Right.
You need to read the prophecy about that, and there is a video. Like, one of the ladies the lady I met up with on the weekend, Katrina, she's the one who interviewed I forget the name, Stephen, and the two men who were talking about the black box, about the prophecy of the crystals under Uluru. Okay, so
Send me a link to that.
Yeah, I will.
Well.
So she's just like soul sister, like, honestly, these people are all converging together and meeting up, and
100%.
like, it's crazy. And you're resonating with some people and you're not resonating with others. And this is why I say nearly in every video is like, if you resonate with this message, you resonate. If you don't, you don't. You knew, and I know you want to wrap it up, but you said when you first saw me.
Talk to you all day.
I know, we can.
Watching, they're falling asleep. They're trying to stay. Getting another.
No, I'm sure they're listening. We can
not because of you, just because it's like it's the 10th video of the day.
Hey, I'm used to 3.5 hour videos with Beyond the Veil, so don't worry. I'm used to the long videos. Yeah, I think you said when you saw me, you just went, she's going to illustrate my poem.
Well, no,
but you didn't even know I was an artist.
Want me to tell you the true story? I'd watched your video, and I woke up and I was on the toilet. Sorry for being graphic, but this is where these things come to me, and it was literally like, I'm going to speak to her today somehow, and she's going to illustrate a book of poetry. And I was like, don't be silly. And then what happened?
Wow.
Then we started chatting,
and I'm an illustrator. So did you know that at the time? You didn't even know that.
I said you were an artist, but I hadn't actually looked into your stuff.
Yeah, I'm an illustrator. Yeah.
I've not written enough poems for a book yet, for this period. But they're coming, and I'd love to do that with you.
Well, you could do. Well, I guess if is very timely, so it's not gonna. Yeah, you need to have something.
I see a book of poetry about this time.
Yes. Okay.
Right? About this whole lockdown process to awakening process. That's what I see.
Yeah, it needs to be documented, doesn't it?
I've got a few more up the sleeve.
And you've got another one. I'm your muse, am I?
You are? I'm not telling anybody about that because it might be crap.
Oh, okay.
What if it's rubbish?
Okay.
I might just throw it away. But no, that's really. I'm really enjoying working on that actually because the teachers come at the time that you need them. So the day, the people that taught me how to make the quinine also told me about some other extraordinary stuff to do with magic and spelling, and also they told me about going to Saturn and going to different realms and the boxes. I mean, just all coming in.
Yes.
Like, wow. So I'm trying to build in. I'm fascinated by all the one of the famous poets like W.B. Yeats, for example.
Yeats, yeah.
Who's from this area where I am right now, and people don't realise that he was part of the Hermetical
Crowley
with Aleister Crowley. Yeah. And in the first poem that I saw, behind him in the lake was the castle in which they used to do ceremonies.
Oh my God.
Right. So this is a very powerful place that I'm in.
Very occulted, yeah. So Ireland the land there is unbelievable.
Because I don't even know what I'm doing here, I'm here,
wow.
I'm here because my kids are here, but the pullback to Ireland was just I mean, my nan was Irish, but me living here, it's still like, what am I doing?
I've always wanted to go there, and
once Qantas come here, get your ass over.
I've always wanted to go there because I just love that this is so lush and beautiful.
Oh, it is stunning. There's a great picture on my Facebook page this morning of the rainbow this morning. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah.
The light and the green.
Oh yes, was that your picture? Okay, yes, I saw that. It's gorgeous.
Ireland's incredible, but Ireland's under the cosh, like Australia, like everywhere else.
A lot of stuff.
I'm done. We're done. But they're done. They're gone. They're over. This is positive, right? And your stuff is just beautiful. I just I can't thank you enough for doing this chat with me. And if I know that you'd like to do a 3-hour video, but I just
you don't have to pay, do you?
I take the time and everything else, but come back and do more.
Yeah, we can do another one and we can do updates and stuff. I don't ever know what I'm going to talk about next. I have a lot of requests and stuff, but I can't force it. Like I have to go with whatever information comes, but the Q&As will be the specific questions that people want to ask, and then I can tap in.
It blocks out Friday afternoons now, Q&A.
Yeah, so that usually is 8 p.m. Sydney time.
Yeah, lunchtime here.
On a Friday, and gosh, the last time was like a big.
I loved it.
Nothing worked, but YouTube's doing weird stuff with my channel, so it's not letting me monetize at all. Like it's still pending. It's not letting me do that. It's it wouldn't let me do live streaming and I thought I'd done everything that I needed to. Yeah,
Oh, it's
so
just them playing around doing their thing.
yeah, they're coming down anyway, so it doesn't matter. There's going to be a mandate with all
they'll be
that.
gone soon.
Yeah, not mandate, but yeah, a executive order that sort of overturns a lot of the stuff with the social media. Yeah, but it's a big. Just I want everyone to know I'm handling it because this is my job. Like it's not even a job; it's my mission, and I don't feel over. I mean, people think, "Oh my God, you must be so overwhelmed." I kind of am. I've hit the ground running, and I kind of feel like this is what I do now.
You're ready. You were ready.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah.
perfectly cooked.
And people have been so generous the last couple of days. They've been sending me donations and like because I can't work, so like this is what I do. This is my job now, and I feel like it's such a it's an important service for everybody,
It really
and
is.
it's like God's work because I need to get people to just trust again and believe that everything's okay. And if it's not okay, I'll tell you it's not okay. But
Believe
you know,
me,
it's
you're
just a
doing.
reminder. Hmm?
Believe
It
me,
cut
you're doing that.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I think you told me that. So they maybe because I kept going, I don't know why this is happening.
Oh, no,
So
mission from God, Blues Brothers, sunglasses, petrol tank, off we go.
yes, absolutely.
So look, I love talking to you, and I hope everybody watching this, please go and have a look if you've not seen the videos, and get on the Facebook group and donate
Yeah.
because keep this very important. Um, Brilliant.
And yeah, and we will eventually do BitChute and all of those other things. I just haven't had time. This is like
Oh,
I've literally just been thrust on my lap,
yeah.
and I've it non-stop, and I barely sleep, and it's really hard to keep up with everything, you know. So just be patient. You know, we'll upload to other platforms and stuff. So
Well, you're doing amazing, and I'm sure everybody watching this is supporting you on every level.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, and yeah, I just love talking to you, Mark. So I'm just so glad that you know, we finally got to do this, and
Oh, it's incredible.
it's only been 3 weeks.
I know.
It
It's been 3 weeks.
feels- My
Time.
whole life has changed in that time. It's crazy. Oh my God.
It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning.
Yeah, it is. It's a big.
Hang on, we're a bit like teenage. No, you hang up first. No, you hang up. Right, I'm going to pause the video now, stop the recording, and have a chat to you. And everybody watching this, thank you very much. Please go and check out all the videos and do all the good stuff. And thank you very, very much. I really.
Thank you, Mark.
I'm
Thank
going to
you.
stop it now. Here we go. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.